started a home-based service business and you have found that running a business is harder than it looks and more overwhelming than you ever thought it would be? This podcast is the best of the best information that I've learned to help grow and sustain my business. Listen, subscribe, and follow along. We can avoid the overwhelm and start creating a business we love to run. Welcome back to the podcast. I am so glad you're here, and today's episode is going to be a little bit different because I'm going to be taking a break from our series through technology, and I'm going to give you guys my January 2019 Power Sheets update. So if you're not familiar with Power Sheets, they are created by a company called Cultivate What Matters. You can find them on Instagram and you can follow them there or on their website at cultivatewhatmatters.com. And basically it is just a intentional goal planner for the year. And so what you do is you start to uncover what matters most to you. You reflect on the previous year, things that worked, things that didn't work, and then you create your goals and you create things that matter. And what I've done is I have actually two sets of Power Sheets. I have one set for the business and I have one set for my personal life. And this is the first time that I've ever done two sets of goal planners. And really, it's the first time I've ever actually been using the Power Sheets. I believe in 2017, I bought the 6-month version of them, and I didn't do any of the prep work, which was a mistake. And I didn't really use them because nothing on the list truly mattered to me. And they weren't things that I really had a reason to get done. They were just things that I thought I should be doing. But this time around, I've gone through all the prep work in both of the sets. I went through it and thought about the business, and then I went through it and thought about my personal life, and I've made my goals, and I've actually stuck with it this month. And I'm going to give you a few reasons why I think that it's been really successful for me this past month, and some things that I accomplished, and how I'm moving my business forward, how I'm making progress, things that are working, and a few tweaks that I'm making for next month that I think that might help you as well. So first, I want to go through 7 things that I did this past month that I really believe why I've had success with this past month and why I have actually made progress on my goals instead of getting about a week or 2 in and then deciding, this just isn't for me, I'll try something else, and then moving on to another system like I normally do. So number 1, get a friend. And this has been, I think this is the number 1 reason why I have followed through on a lot of my goals is because my friend Shayla and I once a week on Skype, or really it's on FaceTime, we call each other once a week and then we each go through our goals and we talk about our progress. We talk about things that went well, things that didn't go well, and then we encourage each other. And then it's that accountability that we both need to really get everything done. Maybe she can do it on her, she's pretty fantastic. She could probably follow through, but I need to follow through. So me having her there to help me remember, okay, I need to check them off. She's going to ask about it. I need to make sure I make progress on this, or I need a really good reason why I didn't make any progress on it, has been amazing. So get an accountability partner. If you have a friend that you know that use Power Sheets, just send her a text and say, hey, do you want to do this together? Do you want to meet for, an hour once a week where we talk about our goals and while we talk about things that we're doing and the progress that we're making. And it's been tremendously helpful for me, for sure. So number 2, the daily and the weekly goals. Now, this is the first time that I've really been doing these, and I've learned a lot. I was overly ambitious on my daily action items on both the business side and the personal side of things that I wanted to do. For example, I wanted to go live on Instagram every single day in January. That did not happen, and I felt so bad about it. And then I realized that needs to be a weekly goal. At this point in my business, I don't necessarily have things to say on live every single day. And I need to make sure that I really get my thoughts together before I go live. And I really need it to be once a week at this point. I'm not saying that later on in the year, I might not do a full month of live videos every single day, but I really need to move that to a weekly action item. So while you're considering your weekly and your daily goals, just make sure that you can accomplish them. It's okay if they stretch you, but other things like Where's another one that I didn't do well on? So I wanted to go on a walk every single day, and that did not happen either. It's January. It's cold. I know I live in Florida, but it's still cold here. And so for February, I moved that to a weekly goal. So once a week, when inevitably it'll be 70 degrees randomly one day, I want to just get outside and walk along the golf course that we live on. That's my goal for February. And instead of moving those goals straight to another daily action item in February, I just realized that I need to be a little bit more realistic of things that I can accomplish and things that actually move me forward in my goals. So that was just trial and error, just trying it out, seeing what's worked, seeing what doesn't work. And in February, I think I have a better sense of what I can really accomplish every single day in my business and in my personal life. Okay, so number 3. The next thing I learned was to leave them in my planner. So leave the tending list in your planner. And that means that I don't want to rip them out of my power sheets. I want to actually leave them in. And the reason is I sometimes misplace them because it's only 2 sheets of paper, and I don't misplace my goal planner because they're huge. And so I'm definitely going to do that this next month. I'm not going to rip them out. I'm just going to leave them in there. Number 4, focusing on the hard things. That's what really moved me forward in January. I think I talked in a previous episode where I was going to look at January and look at the things that were really stressing me out and things I didn't need to have and do all the hard work and cut them out no matter how painful it was. And I did a lot of that in January. I cut out the hard things. I cut out the things I didn't need, the things that I didn't want to have in my life. I was able to cut them out, and I focused on that in January, and it's been amazing. I still have a few things I have to focus on in the next few months, but being intentional about that has been incredible. I would not have gotten rid of them if I wouldn't have intentionally decided to do that ahead of time. So that's been great. Number 5, I should have added a few light things on my list. So basically what that means is all the goals that I had seemed really hard. I know that I was focusing on hard things in January, but I didn't really have very many low-hanging fruit that I could really do. It was a lot of really hard things and really big goals that I wanted to accomplish. I did have one fun thing that I did, which was to get my nails done. And the only reason I did that was because my husband pushed me out of the house and said, "You're going to get your nails done. Don't come back without them painted. You need to take a break." And so I did that because of him, and he knew that I wanted to do that because I told him that. And so I should have added a few lighter, easier, more relaxing things, even if it was just take a day and rest. I should have put that on my planner. Number 6, I left space for additions, which I'm so grateful for. So at the beginning of the month, I was starting to work on a few projects that I'm releasing, and then I realized, okay, I need branding for my business. I don't have any. If I had that, then that's kind of a missing piece. And so I purchased a branding course, and I went through it and I started that. And then I realized, okay, so now I have all this information. How am I going to get out there? I need to know my marketing plan. I don't have a marketing plan. And then I realized, I can buy this course and I can learn how to do the marketing plan. And so I went through that and I did all those things. And so things came up through the month as I was working on some of those big hard goals of some of the foundation things I need to put in place. And I was able to put those on my goal planner and mark them off as I made progress on them because it was still all a part of a bigger goal. And so I would definitely leave space under the monthly goals, the weekly goals, even the daily goals to add it in later, because it might mean that 10 days into February, I might realize, I need to finish this month and I need to put it on my list so I don't forget. And so it goes on my power sheets to make sure that I get them accomplished, and I'll be able to fill in the progress bar, which is really satisfying. So that's one of the things that I'm really glad that I did. And number 7, and this is something that I wish I did, was write in a more neutral color. So I wrote out all of my goals in hot pink, and while it's really fun, I just wish I wrote them out in black or in blue. And so for February, I wrote out everything in blue because it's just easier to read, easier to look at. The bright pink is a little harsh. I definitely should have used it as just my progress bar to fill in the gaps there, not necessarily to write out all the things on my list. So just a little tip that I learned and something that I should have done. So again, the 7 things that I did or that I should have done for my power sheets in January were: number 1, get a friend, which I did. Number 2, looked at my daily and weekly goals and made them realistic. Number 3, leaving the sheets of paper in my power sheets and not ripping them out. Number 4, focusing on the hard things, which I did and made a world of difference. Number 5, I should have added a few lighter things. Number 6, left space for additions. And number 7, wrote in a more neutral color. So those are just some of the things that I learned while using them this past month. A lot of this is trial and error. I'm sure that by the time June comes around, I'll have this thing nailed down. I'll know my goals. I will know what I can realistically accomplish on a weekly and daily and monthly basis, and I'll probably be able to push myself a little bit further then as well. So a few of the goals that I accomplished, this is what I'm really excited to share, are some of the goals that I've accomplished and that have made a world of difference in my business. So number 1, KPIs, which stand for key performance indicators. This is basically tracking your numbers and not just your financials, but in your business in general. So tracking like how many email subscribers, how many people that I helped, how many people are on Instagram, how many times I posted, and how many podcast episodes, how many downloads that we have, things like that, where I can see results and I can really be able to evaluate and analyze how I need to shift things in my business, what's working, what's not working, and I'll have actual data to look at. So I created a KPI report. I looked at what I wanted to track, and once a week, I tracked it on my Excel list, and it has made a world of difference. I'm already seeing positive results. I've decided what I need to not focus at all on because it's just not worth it for me, and I'm becoming more streamlined in what I'm doing, which is fantastic. Number 2, a thing that I'm working on is restructuring my business. I realized last month whenever I had a miscarriage, before that when I was pregnant, I realized that I can't run this business if I have a baby. It's just not possible. I would need maternity leave and I can't take it right now. And just the realization of that was very difficult for me to accept. And so this past month, I decided I need to start cutting clients out because I just can't work for them and focus on what really matters to me, which is having a family. And so I started doing that this past month. It was really hard, but I did it and I made great progress on that goal. So the third thing was my email list. And it's no secret that most business owners need email lists because even if you follow me on Instagram, if Instagram decides to take down my profile, I have no way to contact you. And I don't like that. And I don't own any of those information or things that I post on there. And so I've been working on, first I had to figure out how to use my email list. I realized I was signed up for multiple lists and that was horrible. So I had to take some of the lists off. I signed up with MailChimp and then I moved everything over and I've started building that. So that was a huge thing that I had wanted to do all of last year and I took care of it in just a few days because I was intentional and I focused on it. So number 4, my 2019 marketing plan. I already talked about that a little bit earlier, but I really wanted to have an actual plan for the year. And so I used Amber Housley's course, Flourish. And in 5 days, I created my entire 2019 marketing plan, which has been incredible. Number 5, I wanted to organize Dropbox on my computer. It was messy. I was constantly looking for things. I should have been more organized in the first place, but you know how you kind of just get used to looking for things in the right places. And then after a while, I realized there's got to be a better way. And so I was able to organize Dropbox. Number 6, I think that's number 6. Yeah, number 6, Instagram posting. That is one thing that I kind of let drop off last year. I stopped sharing my thoughts and I stopped sharing tips and things. And so I was really intentional these last few weeks on Instagram, posting and sharing my thoughts and sharing resources and just being more transparent and just helping people out. And I thought, okay, if this is helping me, it could help somebody else. And so that's been my thought process on what I've been posting on Instagram. You can follow me at Lydia gmiller.mba on Instagram, by the way, and I'll link to that in the show notes. And then the last thing is there were so many more goals that I accomplished. You probably don't want to hear all of them, but I am so grateful for the progress that I've made, and I'm grateful that I have a place that I can look back at the end of the year and say, oh yeah, in January I did those things and that was hard and I did that, and look how far I've come and look what has been accomplished, and I'm just so grateful for that. So 3 pieces of advice if you are thinking about ordering your power sheets and doing them, or if you have them and you haven't touched them at all, here are my 3 pieces of advice. Number 1, don't be overly ambitious and burn out. I think I did that with a few of my goals already, which, like going live on Instagram or going for like a 3-mile walk every single day, like overly ambitious, not going to happen. I don't have the structure right now. I need to focus on other things. So moving those things back to once a week, I think is going to really help me out and actually make me accomplish those goals in February. Number 2, focusing on the daily action steps. So my daily action steps didn't always happen. And as I was looking through them, I thought, gosh, I really wanted to do some of these things every single day. And so I have created my February daily action steps, and my goal is to finish them before 8 a.m. every single day. And so some of them are really simple things like I'm just looking at my planner and looking at my plan for the day, or just do my Bible study, just 20 minutes in my Bible every single morning, writing a note to Jed every single morning and leaving it for him just to encourage him, or to write a scripture verse down for him and just leave it somewhere for him just to build him up and encourage him. Or let me look at some of my other goals. I'm trying to be more intentional with the podcast, and so doing my daily podcast task and posting on Instagram, just things like that, logging into my bank account to just monitor everything that's in there. And I just want to finish those things before 8 a.m. and really focusing on those small daily things that I want to cultivate and really do well out this next month. And number 3, I want to focus more on writing things on my planner and then doing them. So this last month, I wasn't the best at actually using my simplified planner and writing down things that I wanted to do and picking the one main thing and writing out the small steps I can take throughout the day to make those things happen. And next month, I really want to focus on that. I really want to focus on that small progress that I can make and writing it in my planner and checking it off and breaking it down so that I stay more organized and streamlined, and that I really actually do the things. That's another focus as well, is really actually doing all the steps in the process and taking action and knowing what I'm supposed to be doing every single day. Because if not, my natural tendency is not necessarily work more or find something else to do. It's to just relax or chill, or I'll be on Instagram and all of a sudden it'll be an hour later and I've wasted that hour. So those are just a few of the things that I'm working on. I hope you've enjoyed this Power Sheets update for January 2019. You can definitely follow me on Instagram, and I'll link that in the show notes. If you have any questions about these, you can always feel free to email me, Lydia@dacbalance.com, if you have any questions at all. I'll talk to you next time.